stuff, and JJ and I had already kind of mapped out what we thought the film should be. So Steven Spielberg produced the movie, and he's in the office, and he's like asking me, so how many themes do you have? How many themes? What character themes did you write? And I rattle off everything I wrote, and he's like, what, no monster theme? There's no monster theme? I'm like, well, it's not about the monster. I said, there should be no theme for the monster, it's not about the monster. The monster is secondary, it's about the kid. There might be some scary music, for sure, and maybe a motif which suggests the weirdness of what's going on in the town, but there was never kind of a monster theme, And he was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, And I don't know if he totally was on board with my way of going or not,
Mm-hmm.
but he's very supportive, and he wanted us to make the movie that we wanted to make, and he wanted JJ to be able to do what he wanted to do.
Right.
So we knew there was going to be a family theme. We knew there was going to be a theme for the blossoming kind of love affair between he and the girl. And then there was just this little motif, which was like, let's not forget this is also kind of Twilight Zone land that we're in as well. And those were the main themes. And then, of course, there were just what I like to call kind of themes that are attached to scenarios, like for the bus scene, there's its own piece of music that can stand alone.
So then, how soon or late in the process did you think you had these themes? And when would you show Jay? And how would you show it to him? And
We would talk. We do a lot of eye chatting, actually. Believe it or not, we do a lot of eye chatting, and I can play things through the internet for him, and we see each other and we talk about it. And I remember he was in New York because he was traveling a lot. He was writing and doing a lot of things, and he was in this hotel room in New York. And I said, okay, I want to play the suite that I put together. I wrote a suite which had the family theme, the love theme. It was about a 6 or 7 minute suite. I remember playing it for him over that way, and I'm watching him. He has his headphones on, and then towards the end, he's kind of like crying, and he's like, oh my God, people are gonna burst into tears during that part, this and that.
these are pretty much what we heard.
It was similar, yeah. It was like that idea that what was at the ending there, So he was very happy with it, and I felt very attached to the movie for many reasons, because I grew up. That was kind of in a lot of ways was my childhood, as it was his. Growing up, making movies, you're with your best friends. I wasn't lucky enough to have an alien land in my town. That would have been awesome, but still hoping that'll happen. But primarily just watching it, I was like, that was my life, breaking into the school, doing this stuff. I mean, all of that crazy stuff. So I had this weird emotional attachment to the film. So the music came very easy for me on this
So
one.
let's just go over the themes. So that's like kind of the monster. That would be the Twilight thing.
Right.
It was funny because I remember when you kind of were on the stage
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of recorded that, and then the opening. So many damn logos now these days.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
And we started, and the evil Paramount. It sounded like Paramount was like
The Paramount
evil,
logo came up,
right?
and
all of a sudden it's sweet. That's like
that was funny.
That was a very good moment.
So, yeah.
So we got that.
And then actually, yeah, you hear the family theme come in,
Right.
which kind of takes us as the bike is going over the moon, and kind of takes us into the first scene there. But
And didn't Spielberg say to you, man, this is I gotta get a new logo or something? Did he say that like on the stage? Remember he said we were watching it and it was still what's his face, Elliot on the bicycle, and
he
he goes,
did mumble something like that. Yes. It was very funny being on the stage with him because he was kind of staring out at the stage. I said, "What are you thinking about?" And he's like, "I haven't been on this stage since I recorded Jaws." And just in my mind, I'm thinking, how crazy is it that I'm standing here with Steven Spielberg working on one of his movies, and he's sitting here talking to me about, well, I remember recording Jaws here. That was just like a really interesting moment for me. It was actually a full circle moment because I remember when I first got that job at Universal, when I came up the elevator the first day, the elevator opens and the first thing that is there is a Jaws poster. And I remember just thinking, this is awesome.
and then we get that's our Joe Lamb kind of.
That's the Joe Lamb family sort of theme, he and his father and his mother. It's kind of the spirit of the mother, which we wanted to keep present in the film, which was that theme. And then the other theme was, that was kind of like the love theme for Ian. What's her name? It's been months now. Elle. Well, Elle, I'm trying to remember the character name. So those
Alice
were the,
Steiner? You go up to Alice Steiner?
Alice Steiner, yes. So those are the building blocks.
and then dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
yeah, that's the bad guys. We had to have a bad guy. He was like, we need one for the military. That was,
So it was really kind of like, it was like a throwback to like.
It was a
like-
throwback to all the films that
Right.
we like loved growing up. Those ideas of using real distinct melodies and themes to kind of take you through the storytelling, and not to be afraid of doing that. Now a lot of the movies are afraid to get too thematic, which I find it's sad actually that it's that way. Because you watch so many movies now, so even big kind of summer action tentpoles, which have literally no themes in them.
Right.
It's just nonstop action driven that just goes on and on.
So, and then quickly, just the bus. I want to know the bus. We'll open the questions. I'm sure these people have more interesting things to say. So I remember saying to you, we worked on Star Trek. We were lucky enough to work on Star Trek together.
Yes.
And the opening of Star Trek was that misdirect, and we figured, I was Captain Kirk dying. Oh wait, he's the father. Blah
Right.
blah blah. But then at one point, everything kind of dropped out, and it turned this beautiful. I turned to you and said, "This is like a pas de deux." I was like, "Do you like ballet?" And you're like, "I love the ballet." And then again, I think it happened with the bus. It was like it went through all these changes, and I don't know if people. It was,
Well,
the effects were very loud in this movie. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's kind of hard to tell. But one of the things I loved about listening to film scores growing up was like, especially John Williams stuff, like you could listen to them away from the film and you knew what was going on. Like there was a storytelling going on in his writing. When Indy's chasing that truck at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, you could listen to that and you're like, oh, that's the part where he jumps on the thing, or that's the part where he throws the German out of the thing, and that's the part where this and that. Like you can relive it in your head. And as a kid, the only way to relive a movie was to listen to its score because you couldn't buy the DVD or watch it on cable. That didn't exist, So that was the only way for me. So I think that was just, that style was ingrained in me, that sort of storytelling thing. And that's what I wanted from this as well, was just that, be able to create pieces of music that if you listen to separately, you'd go, oh, that's when the kid threw up, or that's when this happened, and this, that kind of fun.